Walk into any hardware store and you'll see a dozen power tool brands fighting for your money. DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, Craftsman. Looks like competition. It's not. Two parent corporations control roughly 65% of the North American power tool market, and the playbook that built this duopoly started with one audacious bet. In 1992, Black & Decker took the exact same tools contractors had rejected, repainted them yellow, slapped a dead brand's name on the box, and rode that lie to nearly $1 billion in sales. That wasn't just a rebrand. It was the blueprint for buying an entire aisle. Black & Decker's leadership did not stumble into the DeWalt relaunch. They diagnosed the problem with surgical precision. By 1991, their reputation among tradesmen was in the gutter. Contractors saw the Black & Decker name and thought of plastic drills for weekend projects, not tools that could survive a job site. Internal audits spelled it out. The so-called professional line was dead weight, cannibalized by their own entry-level Kodiak series, and buried under the same black and orange packaging as their cheapest models. The verdict was brutal. Less than 10% market share among professionals, while Makita and Milwaukee walked away with the real money. So they went back to the drawing board, but not to design a better tool. The answer came from a branding workshop in early 1992. The team tested color after color, but contractors kept picking the same one, bright industrial yellow. Not for performance, not for features, but because it screamed job site and stood out against the mess of sawdust and cords. That yellow became the new uniform. They took 32 tools, drills, saws, impact drivers, pulled straight from the same assembly lines, and just changed the paint. The Black & Decker name vanished from the box, replaced by a bold DeWalt logo in black on yellow. The guts stayed the same. Only the shell changed. But the illusion did not stop at color. The warranty got a makeover too. Black & Decker's old 3-year promise became a 5-year DeWalt guarantee, a move designed to bait pros who needed reliability. Pricing was tweaked, high enough to look premium, but still undercutting the market leaders. The first 32 yellow DeWalt tools rolled out in September 1992, shipped not to big box stores, but to independent dealers and pro catalogs. Distribution shifted overnight. A new sales force, reporting only to the DeWalt brand manager, pushed the line straight to contractors. Shelf by shelf, the yellow tools replaced the old black and orange, and the story of a new pro brand took hold. What most buyers never saw was this. Under the yellow paint, these were the same tools they had already rejected. The company did not reinvent the drill. They repackaged the same hardware, engineered a new identity, and sold the illusion of choice. It worked because the market wanted to believe. That is how the shell game started. One color, one logo, and a warranty tweak, all hiding the fact that nothing inside had changed. Contractors started noticing the change almost overnight. By the end of DeWalt's first full year on shelves, the numbers didn't just climb, they exploded. Black & Decker's professional market share, which had been stuck at a humiliating 9%, shot up to 28% by 1995. 3 years later, DeWalt was sitting on 45% of the pro power tool market. That's not a typo. In less than a decade, one paint job and a repackaged warranty turned a forgotten line into king of the job site. The impact wasn't just on paper. By 1998, DeWalt sales were closing in on $1 billion a year, pulled in by tools that, under the skin, hadn't changed. Word spread fast on job sites. Guys who had sworn off Black & Decker were suddenly buying up yellow drills and saws, convinced they were getting a pro-grade upgrade. The illusion worked so well that even seasoned tradesmen started trading stories about the new DeWalt toughness, never realizing they were holding the same guts as last year's reject. Meanwhile, Makita and Milwaukee watched their lead evaporate. Dealers and distributors, seeing DeWalt's numbers, scrambled to keep up. The whole market jolted awake. This wasn't just a sales bump, it was a shockwave. The so-called professional market had been turned inside out, not by innovation or engineering, but by a calculated branding move. When a company can triple its share and rake in $1 billion a year on a fresh coat of paint, every rival takes notice. The old playbook was dead. Now, the only way to survive was to scale up, merge, or get swallowed. What looked like a crowded field of choices was about to get a whole lot smaller. Tektronic Industries did not waste time playing catch-up. They bought their way into dominance, one brand at a time. In 2000, TTY snapped up Ryobi's North American power tool division. That was not some niche side project. Ryobi was already a household name in the do-it-yourself aisle, filling garages and basements with affordable drills and saws. Overnight, TTI had a lock on the entry-level shelf, and they were not shy about moving production to their own factories in China and Vietnam. The Made in Japan label faded fast, replaced by a wave of green plastic and aggressive pricing that Home Depot could not resist. But TTY was not just after weekend warriors. In 2004, they added Porter Cable to their cart. Porter Cable had real contractor pedigree. Known for job site tough sanders and routers, Porter Cable had built its reputation on reliability, the kind of tools you would find in a cabinet maker's truck. TTI folded it into their growing stable, using the same playbook: consolidate manufacturing, cut costs, and blur the lines between professional and do-it-yourself. The result was that Porter Cable's heavy-duty gear started sharing parts and production lines with Ryobi, even as the packaging and price tags tried to keep up the old distinctions. Then came the knockout punch. In 2005, TTY dropped nearly $1 billion, $626 million in cash, according to filings, to acquire Milwaukee Electric Tool. Milwaukee was not just another badge. It was the gold standard for tradesmen, the kind of brand that commanded respect on any job site. With Milwaukee in their portfolio, TTY now owned the full spectrum: Ryobi for entry-level, Porter Cable for the mid-tier, and Milwaukee at the top. 3 brands, 3 price points, all feeding the same corporate machine. None of this was an accident. TTI's acquisition spree was a calculated move to box out real competition and steer every buyer, do-it-yourselfer or professional, into one of their lanes. Whether you picked green, gray, or red, the profits rolled up to the same boardroom in Hong Kong. That is how a crowded aisle became a rigged game. And this was only half the story. The other half was just getting started. Stanley Black Decker didn't just watch as the aisle got emptier. They made sure they owned most of what was left. The real turning point came in 2010, when Stanley Works and Black & Decker joined forces in a merger worth $4.5 billion. That deal wasn't about synergy or some consultant's buzzword. It was a flat-out land grab, designed to swallow up shelf space and lock down every price point from do-it-yourself to professional. Over a century of toolmaking, Stanley's tape measures, Black & Decker's drills, DeWalt's yellow badge, all folded into one boardroom. The new company didn't just inherit brands, it inherited the power to dictate where, how, and for how much those brands showed up in stores across North America. But the buying spree didn't stop there. In 2017, Stanley Black Decker spent $900 million to pry Craftsman away from Sears. That wasn't just a nostalgic badge for dads who grew up with red toolboxes, and it was a calculated move to box out the last big independent name in the do-it-yourself aisle. Sears had been bleeding out for years, and Stanley swooped in to grab Craftsman's warranty rights, tooling, and whatever was left of its reputation. The price tag told the story, nearly $1 billion for a brand that, at the time, was a shell of its former self. But for Stanley, it was worth every penny. Overnight, they controlled Craftsman's future, and with it, another chunk of the market that used to mean real choice. All these deals added up. By 2024, Stanley Black Decker was posting over $27 billion in annual revenue across all divisions. That number gets thrown around a lot, but here's what it really means. When you buy a DeWalt, a Craftsman, a Black Decker, or even a Stanley hand tool, you're feeding the same corporate giant. The illusion of competition is just that, an illusion. The company that started with a yellow paint job now sits at the top of a pile built from mergers, buyouts, and brand acquisitions. The only thing more locked down than their shelf space is the battery platform you are forced to buy next. That's the real trick. The tools look different, but the money goes to the same place. Pick up any cordless drill from the big names: DeWalt, Milwaukee, Ryobi, Craftsman, and try swapping batteries between them. It does not matter if both packs say 20 volts or 18 volts. The plastic rails and contacts are just different enough to stop you cold, making them incompatible. DeWalt's 20-volt max battery will only fit DeWalt tools. Milwaukee's M18 pack is locked to Milwaukee. Ryobi's ONE+ battery slides into nothing but Ryobi. The charger ports are all proprietary too. Even tools under the same parent company, like Craftsman and Black Decker, which Stanley Black Decker owns, will not share a battery or a charger. This is not about safety or performance, it is by design. The dimensions, the tabs, the communication chips, every bit of it is engineered to keep you fenced in. There is no universal slot, no open standard. Once you have bought into a battery platform, you are locked to that brand's ecosystem. Need a replacement pack? You are paying whatever price they set. Want to add a new tool? It has to match your existing batteries, or you start from zero. Contractors know the pain here. You cannot borrow a Milwaukee battery to finish a DeWalt job, even if both are sitting in the same truck. Forget about buying a cheaper off-brand charger. Most will not even recognize the official pack. The result is a wall around every tool aisle. The brands look like rivals, but the battery slots are padlocks. It is not just an inconvenience, it is a trap. The moment you buy that first kit, you are making a decision that will follow you for years because there is no easy way out. And that is exactly how the companies want it. Every contractor knows the feeling. You are in for thousands before you even realize you are trapped. The average pro, whether running a crew or working solo, has sunk between $4,000 and $6,000 into one cordless platform. That is drills, impact drivers, saws, lights, radios, batteries, chargers, all bought over years, all locked to the same rails and chips. And it is not just a one-time hit. Lithium packs do not last forever. Most batteries give up after 2 to 3 years of job site abuse. When they die, you are not just replacing a $60 battery, You are paying the ransom to stay in the game. There is no swapping in a cheaper pack from another brand, no hunting for a universal charger. You pay what the boardroom says, or you start over from zero. The numbers do not lie. A 2024 survey of U.S. contractors found that 73% stick to a single brand for all their cordless tools. Not because they love the logo, but because the cost of switching is brutal. Picture a ledger, 15 tools, 8 batteries, a pile of chargers. Add up the receipts. Now imagine tossing it all to jump brands. Nobody does it unless they are desperate. That is how the trap works. The companies know their batteries are a built-in toll booth, and they set the price accordingly. When a battery fails on a Tuesday and you have a deadline, you pay whatever it takes to keep the crew moving. Replacement is not a rare event. Warranty data and service logs show batteries cycle out every 2 to 3 years, sometimes faster if you are working in heat or cold. Multiply that by every tool on the truck, every crew, every year. The sunk cost is not just money, it is time, workflow, and peace of mind. And when a defect or recall hits, it is not just a hassle, it is a gut punch. You are forced to buy back in or risk missing the next job. That is not competition. That is a cage built from your own receipts. The numbers are impossible to ignore. When a single recall sends 2.2 million DeWalt sledgehammers back to the factory after 192 reports of heads flying off, some causing serious injuries, you start to wonder who is actually looking out for the people who use these tools. Then it gets worse. 1.36 million DeWalt miter saws were recalled for a guard that shatters under normal use. These are not one-off mistakes. They are the result of a system where the same boardroom controls the shelf, the warranty, and the supply chain, with nobody left to compete on quality. The Consumer Product Safety Commission's database reads like a casualty list. 12 separate battery fire incidents tied to the same DeWalt platform. Over 3.6 million products recalled in just a few years. Each one is a real job put at risk, a real user left holding a busted tool or a hospital bill. And when the Department of Justice filed its civil complaint against Stanley Black Decker in December 2025, the story got even uglier. The Department of Justice accused the company of hiding known safety defects, tampering with battery firmware, dragging their feet on recalls, and using their grip on the battery ecosystem to bully dealers into stocking only their accessories. The complaint did not mince words. Profit came before safety, and the customer paid the price. The fallout was not just legal. In February 2026, Stanley Black Decker announced the closure of its Connecticut plant. 450 jobs gone. A community gutted overnight. Local news called it a strategic realignment, but the workers knew better. Union leaders pointed straight at the risks of letting one company call all the shots. When the only way out is a layoff notice or a recall, the harm of consolidation is not just numbers on a spreadsheet. It is homes, paychecks, and trust lost to a system that has stopped caring about the people who keep it running. Makita, Hilti, Festool. Those are the names that do not answer to a boardroom in Connecticut or Hong Kong. Each one stands outside the corporate shell game that has boxed in the rest of the aisle. Makita has been running its own show since 1915, still traded on the Tokyo Exchange, never sold off, never rolled into anyone else's empire. Their 18-volt LXT platform covers more than 350 tools, and here is the kicker. Batteries from a decade ago still fit today's gear. No forced obsolescence, no bait and switch. Hilti is owned by a family trust in Liechtenstein, not by shareholders. They do not chase big box shelf space. Instead, they sell direct to professionals with a fleet program that covers repairs, upgrades, even tool theft. Festool is a German family business, 3 generations deep, building high-precision tools in Germany and the Czech Republic. They own SawStop, the only table saw that can save your fingers, and they have never licensed that tech to the duopoly. There is a way to break the cycle, but it takes a different mindset, one that treats every purchase like an audit. Start with the packaging. Flip the box and look for the real owner, not just the badge on the handle. If it says Stanley Black and Decker or Tektronic Industries anywhere, you know where your money is going. Next, check the battery system. Proprietary rails and chips. That is a lock-in. If the charger or battery only fits one brand, you are signing up for years of captive pricing. Then, scan for recall history. Massive recalls year after year are a red flag that quality is a casualty of consolidation. Finally, ask whether the company actually publishes where and how their tools are made. If you cannot get a straight answer, walk away. The aisle is not as crowded as it looks. Real competition means real independence, companies that answer to engineers and tradesmen, not just shareholders. The choice is not just about color, price, or even features. It is about whether you want to keep paying into a rigged game or step outside it for good. Today, every yellow or red drill on the shelf is a reminder. This isn't competition, it's choreography. 2 conglomerates bought up the brands, engineered battery dead ends, and squeezed quality to boost $27 billion in annual revenue. The magic trick only works if we keep buying in. Real choice starts when you follow the ownership, not the label. Don't let them pick your tools for you. Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk.